Okay, so hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Rachel Yang. Here's Maya Vu,
Hi guys.
and I'm here to interview her for my project We Inspire. And this project, again, is to hopefully tell the story and the journey of each of our interviewees so that they can share something that they've learned about what they've done to get to where they're at today. And so here we go. And this is basically questions from the brief bio that you wrote to me about a week ago.
Okay.
So this is just to help me ask you these questions, and they're
Sure.
just basic questions. But did you want to say anything before we start the interview?
I just want to thank you for your time today and for coming out to Fresno. I know it's kind of dry, but we're here at my studio, so you guys see all the pink in the back here. Yeah, so we're just here and we're just enjoying our night and just hanging out. Yeah, I'm excited.
Yep, and thank you, Maya, for definitely giving me your time. I know that you're a busy mom, a wife, and you're a business owner and all that, artist. So I also want to thank you for giving me your time. And we just did my eyebrows too, so it's been quite a day. So I'll post the eyebrows later. All right. So you sent me your bio that you were born in Thailand, and your parents came here when you were 1 year old, and you guys came to Fresno, and you've been here since. And you're the oldest of 3 kids, and you have 2 younger brothers. So I'm curious to know, how has living in Fresno impacted like your goals and your life while being here?
I think Fresno will always have a place in my heart, even though I know that outside of Fresno there's a lot of opportunities, there's a lot of other things, but since we're here, I feel more connected to my community, especially the Hmong community, because we still have a good amount of Hmong people here, even though the majority of people have moved away.
Yeah.
So I feel like being here in Fresno, I feel rooted here in the fact that like everybody, both Fresno and So I feel like being here really helps me connect with my community, as well as like, you know, raising my family in a community where we have each other. So yeah, we never left, and you know, and I don't know if I ever will, but Fresno is home. So yeah, there's a lot here for me, and it means a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that Fresno has probably one of the highest Hmong population here in California.
Maybe at one point,
the
most.
most. Yes, the most. Yeah, so definitely it has a lot of Hmong people, and the biggest New Year is here.
Yes. That's what I love about being here.
Yep. All right, and then you also shared that your parents are hardworking farmers, and so are my parents. And so tell me, tell the audience, what values and principles have they taught you that helped you throughout your life?
You know, it's such hard work, you know. And like farming, just seeing them out in the fields, and you know the Fresno heat, it's so hot here in the summertime, and they're still out there. It shows you to, and it reminds you that, you know, like we have to work hard, you know, we have to be able to, and I still am working towards like, you know, taking my parents outside of that, and even though they chose this career path, you know, it is very hard, but at the same time, seeing them work so hard really does motivate you in life to know that, you know what, like we came here with nothing, and they're able to work so hard that we can too. So I think coming from a family in agriculture, and I know a lot of Hmong families, so it's like, it's a motivation. Yeah, won't even last a day, you know. So what does that tell us? That tells us that, you know what, like we are capable of being more than that. If we work just as hard, we apply that to our life, we can be more than that. So that's what my parents have taught me about working hard.
Yeah, I think I have a saying where like my mom says you guys are all like lazy compared to me.
Yes.
And I said, yes, Mom.
I will admit that.
Because you can work 18, 20-hour days, and I can only work maybe 10 or 12 hours.
Yeah, you were making the complaint.
And that heat, yes. You guys are really, really hot here compared to us down there. So, all right. And then I see here that you wrote you were accidentally enrolled in choir when you were 8 years old. Tell us about that accidentally enrolling in choir. What happened there?
Yeah, so I've talked about this before in a couple of other interviews. You know, like being first generation family, from an immigrant family, you know, you need to let you you know, when we were doing all the activities at school to the electives, we were supposed to choose what we want to do, and so I don't know what choir is, you know, and I didn't even know how I got enrolled in it. I think they just put me in there because we didn't know what to pick, so they just threw me in choir. And when I remember when I was there, everybody was like clapping and saying their names, you know, and I was just like, what are we doing? Like in my head I was like, okay, so I think out of the whole school, like so it was really hard to understand what was going on, but you know, I was so glad for that accident because I did not ever realize, I never thought that it would be such a big part of me. Just that one time being in that choir, I just stayed in choir and I just like fell in love with music, fell in love with singing. So I am so glad that whoever it is that put me in choir, like it made me who I am today.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, sometimes those accidents can turn out to be such you know, a great, like you said, impact, and it's like a life changer for you.
Yes.
So, so with that, with the choir, being enrolled in the choir, I also see here that you started to play the guitar at 16.
Yes.
So, what inspired you or brought you to start playing the guitar at 16, and then also the singing?
When I was 16, my father church now, so he bought us, me and my brothers, a guitar, but mainly it was for my brothers to learn because, you know, like on the girls did not play guitar. When I was 16, it was a very different time. So girls didn't really play instruments, so I remember being really upset because I wanted a piano and my dad got us a guitar instead, and it was for my brothers. So I got really like kind of disappointed that I didn't get a piano, but I was like, yeah, whatever. So I just, you know, stuck it under my bed for probably like over a year. And I remember thinking, like, you know, my dad, he worked so hard to be able to buy us this guitar, you know, and for me to just be ungrateful and just to be like brushing it to the side, it's wrong, you know, I shouldn't be doing that. So I decided one day to take it out, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna learn how to play it because my dad bought it for us. So at my school, it's a performing arts school. I happened to go to a school that had those opportunities for me. So I enrolled in after school guitar classes, and I remember crying like every time I played, because, you know, as anybody knows that plays guitar in the beginning, you know, you know, so I remember like crying, like just soaking my hands in hot water and be like, I can't do this, it's so hard, you know. And being young too, it's like I don't know what kept me going, but I just kept, you know, telling myself that, you know, like, I gotta keep doing this because my dad bought me this guitar. So I just kept going, and then, you know what, like anything, if you don't quit, like you can do it. So like that's how I started.
Oh wow. Well, that's a really cool story. So your dad actually bought a guitar for you when you were 16, and you picked it up and you went to a performing arts school. So I'm curious too, I was gonna ask you about your schooling. Was this also a school that your family enrolled you in, or was it just a nearby school? How did you get enrolled into
so this school? I went to like a regular school, but then they had this school here in Fresno called Bowler Talent, and maybe a lot of people here would probably have heard of this school. It's a school where it's like a lottery system. So like they enter your name, and if you get drawn, then you get to go to the school. I don't know how it works now, but back in my time, it was a lottery system. So my parents, I guess they just heard that it was a good school, and they enrolled my brothers and I, and then they picked our names. So it was like luck, you know, for me to go to that school, because that school really focuses on the arts, like music, choir, you know, sewing, art, painting, all of anything that you can think of in arts, they really focused on it. So I have to give a lot to that school, because if it wasn't for that school, if I just went to like a regular school, I don't think I would have had the opportunity to like get in touch with all those different like music classes and, you know, guitar classes and things like that. So I was very lucky.
That's a lucky lottery draw.
It's almost like this whole thing so far with music was all luck. It was all out of my control. It just happened.
Wow, I'm amazed. Wow, that's a cool story right there. Now I see that you also wrote here that as you got older, you got married at 25. You have 5 kids now,
Yeah.
right? And 2 girls, 3 boys. And so you were working a regular job, and you just told me earlier that you're working for the county for like 10 years.
Yes, I was working as an accountant.
Oh, as an accounting.
Yeah.
Okay, accounting for
over 10
years.
Yeah.
And you said it was horrible.
I hated it so much. Yeah.
And then you had daycare problems, which I noted here that it's a common problem for a lot of families, right?
Yes.
And so you had, shared that your husband and you decided, right, encouraged you to start your own business.
Yes.
So, you decided to become a permanent makeup artist. And it's a thriving business right now.
It really is.
It's really popular. It's trending. So, tell us what, got you into this business, or what makes you love, because you said you love, right? You really love this. You really love this job. And so tell us about that.
Yeah, I think I'm very lucky, because in order to be like successful in anything, you really need like a good support.
Yeah.
And my husband, he is like my backbone. He's very supportive and everything. He believes in me more than I believe in myself. And so like when I lost my job, he encouraged for me I tried to be a stay-at-home mom, and it drove me nuts. I couldn't do it. So he finally was like, you know what, why don't you just go for it? Like, why don't you I'm just going to send you off to learn this new, microblade thing that's really popping at the time, you know? So I was very hesitant, okay? Because I was like, oh, it's not for me. Like, I don't want to do it. I was really down in the dumps, like, from losing my job. So I was like, I don't know, I didn't want to do it. But then he was like, just go and see what happens. So I'm like, I'll pay for everything, just go. So I was like, okay, fine. So I went and I learned. It was like a week of training, and I learned everything. I was the only girl out of the whole cohort at the time that came from outside of the beauty industry. And everybody was very shocked, because most of the people that came there to learn, they were either already doing lashes, they were doing hair, they were doing nails. I was like the only one came. Yeah, I was like out of the blue, So I think maybe a lot of people didn't think that I would do well, because it wasn't a norm for me. Like, I wasn't used to being really close to a client or touching people's faces and stuff like that. So it was a very hard adjustment going from one whole other career to another. But I just fell in love with it, because what you're able to do for a woman, like to change their lives, to make their lives easier, and just to make people feel beautiful on the outside, and that extends to them feeling beautiful on the inside. Like, it's been more rewarding than I ever thought. Like, I thought I was gonna do this to have a job so I can be at home with my kids and to have more control of my life, but it became more than that. It became like something that I learned to be passionate about that I didn't know I had. So I had to thank my husband for that, because if he didn't push me to do it.
Thank you, hubby.
Yeah. Shout out to my husband. If it wasn't for him, I would probably either be a stay-at-home mom or be very, very miserable, like trying to balance like a regular job, you know. And I knew, like, I always known that I'm the type where like I don't like that kind of structure to where like I have to do this 8 to 5, So breaking outside of that was a true blessing, and for him to support me, it means a lot.
Yeah, that's another thing I noted here too, that it is absolutely important to have your husband and to have a really solid backbone and support, right, system. And so I'm just curious, like, if there was a woman or somebody out there, right, and they want to pursue what you're doing right now, they want to, become a makeup artist or a permanent makeup artist, do something they love and they're passionate about, but let's say they don't have all that support. What advice would you share with them, or what would you tell them? Because I realize that not everybody has it, right?
Yeah.
And so I do see this is like a big struggle with some of our Hmong women out there. So what do you think? I don't know. What are some things you think we can advise them?
I think it's so much harder when you don't have, like you said, the backbone, the support. It is your own self propelling yourself forward. So definitely, like, it's gonna be so much harder to the honest truth. It's a matter of you really like pushing yourself and never giving up, and like being extra persistent, and if you, especially if you don't have like a supportive partner or a supportive family to help you with childcare and stuff like that, it's almost like, I want to say it's almost impossible, So it's like you really have to find a support group. It like I said, it's not impossible, but it's very hard. So like finding a support group, finding people that can help you out with your kids, or like, having your husband be on board, because it's for your future, So like things like that, it's really out of your control if you don't have the support. So I would say try your best to find support.
Yes.
Yeah, because I don't know how I would have done it without it.
Yeah, I totally agree. So with that, do you think at this point, if they do find a support system outside of their husband, outside of the family, what are some support systems do you think we can, I guess, make or have? Because that's what I've been looking for too. For Moen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So because sometimes if it doesn't come from, we were talking earlier, right, when you're doing my eyebrows, sometimes our support system may not even come from within. It may have to come from without. So I don't know, like, where do you think we could find some of those systems from?
I think Hmong, and like if we're talking about Hmong women in general, we do have some support groups out there like Hmong Women Today, Hmong Women like Conquer the World, Take on the World. We do have those like groups that we can reach out to, and I've reached out to them before, and they've been nothing but great help to us.
Yeah.
I think getting in touch with people with like minds, goals, and women that are also like they're all like going towards the same vision and the dream, or similar to what even if it's not the same goal, but like you're going towards the same path outside of the norm. Finding those friends and some support groups, it really helps. And so that's why I mentioned those two groups earlier. Like having like those Hmong women group, it really helps, and I think we need more of them. Yes, we really do. So I don't know what's in store for us in the future, but I really hope that we develop more of these groups to be of a support to each other.
Yes. I totally agree. Thank you. So far, you said that having the ability to change somebody's beauty on the outside is also changing them on the inside, right? So do you think your music, going on to the next subject is your music, do you think that, because now you have 2 albums out already, do you think your music, it's not a trick question. Do you think your music, because we were talking about this earlier, do you think your music has made an impact in the community? What do you think?
Well, like I hope it does, you know, and my intentions when I do write music, my intentions is always so I can at least help somebody or but the thing is like you don't really hear a lot of on the receiving end, like as the end where you're creating and stuff, you're just like I hope it's good, and like but that is my goal, is I hope so. But I've had feedbacks from people, and even like during the new year or during random places, people come talk to you, they tell you, oh my god, like your song touched me, or your song helped me this and helped me through that, and it's just like, wow, like I didn't know that, and it's so motivating. It's so motivating to know that like, oh, I was just writing these lyrics on a piece of paper, and I just made a melody out of it, and now I'm able to like hear from others that it truly like has helped them. It is such a blessing. So I've heard of it. I don't know how it affects others. But I hope that it does.
No, that's great. I think, like I was telling you earlier, my sister and I have you on our playlist. So, you and among other Hmong women singers and artists. So, just know that you guys definitely have an impact on us when you guys write your lyrics. So, with that said, what is your inspiration, or where does your inspiration come from when you write some of your lyrics? Because I know that you were saying earlier, you write a lot of music and you write a lot of lyrics.
I do. On my downtime when I'm not busy with my kids and work, and especially when I'm really stressed, if I feel very overwhelmed, if I just take a moment to sit and write music and play, it's like so therapeutic, and that's where it comes from. But I draw inspiration from everywhere. So like I'll draw inspiration from like that woman's life over there, where like, oh, Nitu husband leave me, how would she feel? Like what about her kids? And so like I'll look around. I have a lot of clients where I talk and I hear people's stories, and I think that's where my business connects with when I write, is because I hear so many stories from women, their struggles, their achievements, and it's like I take that energy from them and I turn it into music. And so that's how I feel like I draw inspiration, just from looking at others or putting myself in other people's shoes, or just listening, but with the whole creating music thing, like it just kind of comes to me. I don't know how it comes to me. It just kind of comes out.
So when you're wow, you make it sound really easy. Wow. So with some of these melodies, do you like sit by yourself, or like, I guess a better question is, when is like your most creative time? Your downtime, when you're alone, or when you're at a park, or when do you find those melodies coming to you? Because melodies are hard for me.
They're very hard. Especially if it's like a brand new melody that doesn't sound like this other song. You know what I mean? It's really hard to write music. I think a lot of the times it just comes to me, and I always have my phone. So I'm always, if you look into my recording app on my phone, there's like a whole list, like just of incomplete like songs that are just on there. Like I'll record myself every chance like a melody comes up or some lyrics come up, I'll record it down. But when I'm formally like sitting down and like my goal is to finish a song, then I just have my guitar out, like a piece of paper and pencil, and I'll just kind of like let it go, and it just comes out like, and then you put it into structures, you know, like verse and chorus, and then you just kind of